When we got our 2023 Airstream International, it came with 3 100-watt solar panels on the roof, and that's been great. But our good friend Brad from 13 Adventures gave us another 100-watt panel. So today I'm going to be installing it up here on the roof. If you're wondering why you're watching this video on a channel called Digital Barbell, it's because my wife Blakely and I own an online training and nutrition coaching company. And since the company is online, we like to spend as much time traveling in our Airstream. All right, so I've decided to install these panels on my roof, trying to not drill any new holes in the roof just to prevent against future water infiltration. This is the bracket that mounts the solar panel to the roof of the Airstream. Usually it sits like this. This side gets bolted down to the top of the Airstream. But since I don't want to do that, I'm going to use 3M VHB tape to tape the brackets down to the roof. Well, the problem is this is not really a lot of surface area to trust VHB. So what I'm going to do is create more surface area by taking this aluminum bar, cutting it into 3 or 4 inch little segments. I'm going to rivet the stock bracket down to the aluminum bar, and then I'm going to VHB the bar down to the Airstream. That's the plan anyway, so let's give it a shot. All right, so I've decided on 3.5 inches for my brackets that are going to be glued to the roof and riveted to my stock solar panel bracket. So I'm going to cut 4 of these out and I'll be done with this part. All right, next thing I'm going to do is pre-drill a hole in these brackets that will match up with the hole in the factory bracket. And then I'm going to put a rivet through there. And I'm going to put a washer on the back side of the rivet so it has something pretty strong to bite into. See how that goes. All right, next step is to feed the rivet through the whole enchilada and lock it down. Let's see if I got anything shorter than these 1/2 inch rivets. Test fit.
It looks like to me, because I was worried about it being just a little bit too short.
I think the thickness is good. What do you think?
Yeah, oh yeah. So let's see how we. That looks pretty.
That looks really good.
Oh yeah. That's what it's supposed to look.
Yeah, it looks perfect. So like I said, I'm going to use VHB to tape these brackets down to the roof. So I'm going to go around and clean all the surfaces of the brackets with this rubbing alcohol first so we get a really good bond. All right, so since this rivet actually stands off the bottom of my bracket a little bit, I'm going to put a piece of tape on either side instead of bridging across the rivet and creating a bump that makes first contact with the roof. I'm going to maximize the amount of this we can get on either side. Well, after I pushed it on, I just did a little test pushing this down onto a hard piece of metal. And actually that rivet is still making contact before the tape is. So I'm going to have to give this some thought as to what to do. So hold tight. Okay, so easy solution was to add a second layer of tape. That gives us about a 1/16 of an inch clearance between the second layer of tape and the rivet head. So assuming we have enough tape, we'll do all 4 brackets, then attach the brackets to the back of the solar panel. Okay, so the next step is going to be to screw these brackets onto the back side of the solar panel. Got some Loctite to put on the screws. Didn't have the original screws that it came with, so I had to pick up ones that were the right thread count and the right length. Also, pro tip, if you go to the hardware store and you buy your own hardware like this, always buy a couple extras because one's bound to be cross-threaded or you'll just lose one. Another thing to think about with this is these brackets are 2 different thicknesses so that when you mount the panel to the roof, you account for some of the curvature of the roof. So the taller bracket goes on the outside towards the exterior wall. So think about that when you're putting your brackets up, because it matters where you want to put your wiring too.
Yeah, you just need just a barely a little drop.
That is liquidy.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I feel good about all those. Those all bit real good. So this panel came with a fuse in line right here. I think it was a 15 amp fuse. Good idea to check that before you get up on your roof and bury this thing underneath your panel. So we're good to go. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is set the panel up on the roof, get an idea of where this tape is gonna need to stick down to the roof, and then clean those spots with the rubbing alcohol, and then we're gonna lock it into place, and then we'll move on to the wiring. I brought his in case, but his will go real high. I'm not thrilled with the angle of the back short brackets. They are tilted too much like this. We need to bend them down this way a little bit.
Yeah, it needs pretty good contact, or it's not going to work.
Yeah. I'm happy with that.
Good.
All right.
So the back ones, are they close to your where the rivets are?
Yeah.
And when you're pushing down, because you need to put a lot of pressure on that
Yeah.
pressure tape.
Yeah, that makes
You know,
sense.
that'll keep it from deflecting a little bit.
That's
so.
not a bad idea.
Apply pressure for 30 seconds on each one.
1, 2, 3. I got good leverage on it though. Solid contact on all 4.
Excellent.
If you notice, my solar port that goes down into the Airstream only has 3 inputs on it, since my Airstream came with 3 solar panels. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove one of them, put a splitter on it, and then attach both together. So let's try it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna plug the male end of the splitter into the port up on top of the Airstream. That gives us 2 connections to go to the existing panel that it was plugged into, and 1 into our new one. I got some heat shrink tubing to put over the connectors. This is my first time using this stuff, so wish me luck. Hopefully don't burn the top of the Airstream. Dirty up here. Make sure that this fits first. Connection. There's actually still a little bit of dielectric grease on these old ones, but I'm gonna put a little more. All right. I'm gonna put some electrical tape where the heat shrink ends here. Okay, the last step on the wiring is going to be some cable management. My father-in-law and I were just joking that you can tell an amateur from a pro by their cable management skills, and I definitely don't pretend to be a professional, so be sure to leave a comment below and let me know how bad this looks. I'm up for it. Man, this roof is filthy.
Pool at least 3 times.
Okay, that wraps up the electrical part of this operation. The next thing we want to do is put some sealant on these brackets where we glued them down, because we don't want the weather to prematurely age the tape. That's a tip my father-in-law found on the internets. So we got some Sikaflex from the Airstream dealer. We're going to give it a try. That's a wrap on this Airstream upgrade. Here's a look at how it came out. Speaking of upgrades, check out the video. It's up on your screen to see 8 other inexpensive modifications that we've made to our Airstream. Have a good day.